The first time he went, it was 1 week. And like I said, he wanted to stay. And then this time around, 2 weeks. And again, yeah, I mean, he could have probably stayed the whole entire month of August. I mean, he loved it. I think first off is the coaching. I mean, all the coaches slash camp counselors are all actual coaches at Athelete Institute. So they all coach the high school boys teams that are there, boys teams that have achieved pretty much the highest honors that you can in high school basketball. Some players have gone on to play Division I college and the NBA. So it's these same coaches that are then coaching all the boys who are there for the summer camps. So I think that was number one for us, was the quality of the coaches and the instruction. So Marcus, he actually plays for Bounce Elite, which is a rep basketball program that's affiliated with Athelete Institute. So we've been around some of the coaches and stuff, and then it was just kind of like a natural progression, right? So once he wanted to do his first overnight camp, probably felt most comfortable with the counselors and the coaching because we are familiar with the program in a way. But also with that, again, not to harp on the level of coaching and instruction, but because we follow a lot of the coaches on social media and online, they even have a TV show now. It was quite easy to find the program and get a lot of information. And he'd also done a week of the camp prior to this past year, so right before the pandemic, I believe. I think ultimately, I mean, number one, the facilities are stellar, right? I mean, it's one of its kind in, I know, in, at least the GTA, perhaps Ontario or even Canada, right? To have a full-sized high school basketball court, entire facility. They have dorms, they have everything right on site, so the boys can kind of easily get familiar with their surroundings and all that kind of stuff. Like I mentioned before, the quality of the instruction and the coaches is probably the tops in the country. Again, the level of players that have gone through the system. I mean, from Jamal Murray has played there, Ignas Brazdeikis, and there's a whole bunch of other Division I basketball players who went through this program. So again, from a parent's perspective, if you're looking for a basketball camp, this is probably the best camp in Canada that you can send your kids to. I mean, we knew that it was the right place after, I think it was in 2019, his first week of camp. We went to pick him up after his first week, and he didn't want to come home. He wanted to stay for another week or two. So we knew right there that it was probably the best camp he'd ever. I mean, most camps he goes to, he enjoys, but then he's ready to come home. This was the first one where he was like, no, I want to stay another week, 2 weeks, a month. He's like, I want to do the whole next summer, right? So we knew right there that it was definitely one of the better camps out there. Yeah, definitely. I mean, from a basketball perspective, we definitely noticed after every week of camp, he would definitely level up. I mean, the coaches there, they know what they're doing, the instructions right. They know how to kind of pick apart different things of your child's game, and they can definitely elevate the different aspects. And then just as a person, I mean, he hasn't done that many overnight camps away from us, but because I guess he's with a lot of other like-minded boys, and they're all kind of have the same goals and things they want to achieve in life. I think it was a really comfortable environment for him, and he didn't get homesick. He'd always want to stay. I mean, we'd have a tough time even getting a hold of him on his cell phone, mainly just because he was having fun with his friends. So just even like kind of personal growth, he grew as a person. He was able to be a bit more independent and kind of think on his own and meet new friends. And yeah, I did think all around he just became a much more well-rounded person in the weeks right after camp. The first time he went, it was 1 week, and like I said, he wanted to stay. And then this time around, 2 weeks. And again, yeah, I mean, he could have probably stayed the whole entire month of August. I mean, he loved it. It's always tough as a parent to send your kid away for at least even the first week. You're unsure. I mean, you probably have, I mean, most parents probably have more anxiety than their kids do when it comes to sending them away. But in this case, I mean, we knew some of the coaches, again, from being in the rep side of the program, and we knew that they always did a really good job with the boys. They were never those coaches that screamed or yelled or anything like that. They were always about development and developing the boys. So we felt very comfortable that there wouldn't be any of that, no negativity. They always had positive reinforcement. And yeah, so I think like ultimately, and the boys are also allowed to, they have certain times throughout the day where they're allowed to have access to their cell phones or anything like that. So they can still text, so we can still have access. Even though sometimes our son would ignore some of our texts and phone calls just because he was having fun with friends. Nothing bad. He was having just obviously too much fun. But still, it's just knowing those things really helped in terms of like bringing our anxiety levels down. In our case, anyhow, the overall value is you're getting prep level, almost NCAA level coaching for your kid. So if your kid has goals set where they want to play first prep basketball and then maybe potentially college, university basketball, this is the program that you probably want to have them in. I mean, it's worth every penny in terms of preparing them for those next steps. As I said before, I mean, our son more than likely will want to be playing prep basketball in high school. So he's going to be away from home for 6 to 7 months out of the year and learning how to balance both schoolwork and basketball. This is a program that really sets them up well for those next steps. And you can kind of see if your kid is able to handle that, right? And it's kind of like a low stakes way of experiencing that type of lifestyle. Kind of forces them at a younger age to start figuring it out, right? I mean, he's 13, he's in grade 8. Next year is high school. We're not too sure about whether we're going to be sending him to prep school next year, but I mean, this is kind of a good prep for prep school, and then even prep for then college and university, which is only 5-6 years away, right? So they start to kind of learn in small doses how to be able to operate independently on their own away from family. So it's kind of a good stepping stone to that. Every week I mean, the first time we went to camp was only a week. And I mean, that's all we heard about for probably 2 months was camp. I mean, everything he talked about, whether in reference to his own development as a basketball player, always went back to his coaching at camp. This year he did 2 weeks. So in between the 2 weeks, he came home on the weekend. And again, all the feedback was that like he felt like for the first time, he felt tired after a day. I mean, these kids have so much energy, right? So they'll go to basketball practice and they'll still be able to play an entire day worth of games. Or it seems like they never have. They have endless amounts of energy. But for the first time at camp, he was like, you know what? After some days of training, I actually felt tired for the first time. So they push them, right? They don't push them to the point where they're collapsed or anything like that. But they know that these are our kids. They have a lot of energy. And so they push them to the point where they actually start feeling a little bit of tiredness that they may have not felt before. So I think that was the main thing that we noticed. Yeah, I mean, final thoughts, I would say, again, not to reiterate it again, but if your child has any aspirations to play high level basketball, whether at the rep level or prep school or later down the road in college, this is the program that you want them in. Because again, it sets them up for success down the road. Not only do the coaches have all the expertise to kind of bring the best out of your kids, they also have they're the most connected people probably in this country when it comes to knowing coaches of different prep programs, different universities, different colleges, and they can make the phone calls, they can make those introductions to get your kids in front of these other coaches. So if they do have aspirations to play at higher levels, these are the people that you want to know, and these are the people that you want advocating for your kids. get into some of those more prestigious programs when it comes up down the road.